Welcome back to Omni Football.
Today we're going to talk about club tournaments. Pretty much every league and every continent has their own kind of club tournament. And essentially how these tournaments work is like every single team in that country that's considered professional partakes in them, and it's just a knockout system. So everybody plays each other once. If you lose, you get knocked out until you get to the final.
So let's focus on England, at least because that's the one we view the most. So England, there's two really like general cups that the professional teams play in. There's the FA Cup and the League Cup. The League Cup, there's no qualifications to get into. Yeah, everyone plays in all the divisions that are considered professional. They're matched up to each other, and then they all play knockout rounds until at the end of the year they have a
final.
Like the end of the calendar year, not the end of the season year. They have a final, and then whoever wins, and it's generally not that big a deal. The FA Cup is one notch above that.
Slightly better.
Slightly above that. So the FA Cup is the English FA, Football Association, their tournament. There's really not that big a difference between the two. Generally, all the teams play. The only thing is that the FA Cup final happens at the end of the soccer season.
Yes.
Which is in like May-ish time. And so there's a little bit more hype because it's like it's taken longer to get to, and it's generally one of the big boys that's playing. And like maybe one of the Premier League like lower teams end up going to it. And it's okay.
It's alright.
It's okay. I mean, the final's okay, but like leading up to it, there's really not much.
Because even if it's like Manchester City and Arsenal, like they're not playing their A squad.
They're not playing their A squad, so it's kind of just like, if we get to the final, cool. If not, let's focus on like some other trophies.
I'll save my key starters' legs.
Yeah, we'll save some starters for the big ones.
Yeah.
So those are the first kind of level of tournaments, and so that's true throughout like most of the countries in Europe. So Italy, France, Germany, Spain, they all have those kinds of tournaments. They don't all have more than one, but they all have at least one.
They all have at least one.
Then we're talking about the big one.
Champions League.
The UEFA Champions League.
But yeah, that's the big one. That is like a true kind of tournament in the sense that there's a group stage. So you play everybody in the group twice, home and away. Whoever ends the group with the two highest scores moves on to the knockout round.
It's the biggest one because it's just exactly what it says. It's the Champions League.
And it's always exciting.
All the leagues in Europe all send their first 2, 3, or 4 teams from the last season. So if your team won Spain's league, then you get sent to the Champions League the next year. So all the really good teams are in the Champions League. But it's pretty exciting. You qualify for that, and you're playing against the champions of other teams, or at least the really good teams of other leagues. So everyone wants to be in the Champions League because it's really exciting.
And you get a gang of cash if you just qualify for it.
Even if you qualify for it, you get.
And the farther you go, the more money you get for your club.
And then there's the knockout stage. So the knockout stage goes from 16 to 8 to 4, and then the final. And then the final happens right around the end of the soccer year too.
It's after the leagues are over.
After the leagues are over, like May, maybe sometimes June.
Yeah.
It's the very last thing in the soccer like calendar, and it's usually like really exciting.
Although sometimes the finals are pretty shite. Usually finals for most tournaments can be kind of shitey.
Sometimes, I mean, you kind of find like
it's that whole like we got it all on the line thing, so don't like everything up.
The pressure kind of gets to people most of the time. I think
because no one wants to bring out the big nuts.
Because no one wants to lose.
Big nuts.
At the same time, there's the Europa League.
Junior version.
It's the junior varsity. It's the not there yet.
It's the not there yet.
It's the not there yet. It's pretty okay because European teams are generally pretty good. Yeah. But it's the teams that didn't make the Champions League, so it's not as good.
Yeah. And what does make it good though is a lot of those teams like that you've never heard of, like those guys come to play.
So you're in the group stage of the Champions League, and the first 2 teams in the tables
go on.
They move on to the knockout stage.
The bottom 2 go into the UEFA.
Not the bottom 2.
It's not, or is the bottom 1?
Just the third place team. The bottom gets
nothing.
They get fucked. You get nothing.
You're a failure.
You get nothing.
Get the fuck out.
So keep the change. but the third place team gets dropped into the Europa League,
which makes it that much bigger. It's already a huge tournament.
It's like a big tournament in terms of like size.
Yeah, there's so many teams.
There's a lot of teams. That tournament lasts the whole year, the whole soccer season, and then at the end of the year, right before the Champions League, the Europa League final happens, and it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay now because the reason why teams show up and want to play is because if you win the Europa League, you get to play in the Champions League next year, regardless of where you finish.
Yeah, so those are the two big tournaments. I mean, the biggest tournaments that we watch. So yeah, FA Cup final, Europa League final, and the Champions League, the whole thing. Yeah, so that's it. So we will end there. So thanks for watching. See you next time.